does the body have the ability to heal regardless of what trauma that has been through? Even after surgeries, trauma, viruses, damage, all kinds of damage to the body, does the physical body really can it heal 100%, really?
Yes. Now, again, you are talking about the idea of quote-unquote circumstances that are relevant to what theme you are exploring. Certain themes you are exploring may not have chosen for the body to be allowed to heal, but in the generalized answer, yes, the body is capable of healing from anything. Anything. But you have to be in the right vibration to allow it to do so. You can aid the body in that sense vibrationally in its ability to heal from just about anything by doing certain physical things that are representative of being in alignment with the collective agreement about what health is, such as detoxification. Because if you live in an environment that you actually believe to be toxic, your body is absorbing those toxins. Those toxins lodge in your cells. So no matter what it is you put in your body that might be beneficial, if the cells are blocked from absorbing the nutrients by being full of toxins, then putting all that will not help you. But if you flush your body of the toxins and make room for the nutrients, then when the body has the building blocks it needs to heal itself, it can heal itself from anything. So that's one approach to it. Obviously, there's an energetic approach, all sorts of different approaches. But fundamentally, yes, your body can be in an absolutely natural state of health absolutely all the time, no matter what it has been through. It can always have the ability. It always has the ability to repair. Because again, remember, what are you actually doing? You're not actually changing that body. You're shifting yourself back into a parallel reality wherein the body is, by definition, healthy. So the answer, in a sense, is yes and no. Linearly speaking, in time-space perspective, yes, the body can heal itself from anything. Mechanically speaking, from a physics point of view, the body actually never has to heal itself. You just have to shift your consciousness into a body that's already healthy. The body that is injured is one body in one parallel reality. The body that is healthy is another body in another parallel reality.
So we take on new bodies and others?
Yes.
So you're saying I'm going to be a different physical body
When
tomorrow?
I talk about the idea that you are shifting through billions of parallel realities every second, I am saying that everything is different, including your body. Because that's just a projection. It's part of the projection of the parallel reality. I'm not saying your original body is moving through parallel realities. I'm saying your consciousness is shifting into the body that's already in that parallel reality. Take me literally. Take me literally. This is actually literally physically happening because physical reality is just an illusion anyway. Your physical body isn't real. Your experience of it is real, but it's just a projection of your consciousness anyway.
So we have some certain therapies that are cutting edge, like O3, certain herbs.
Permission slips, any tool, any technique, any ritual of any kind is a permission slip. Some of those things will work for some people, some of them will not, because people simply need to find whatever permission slip is most aligned with the belief system that they believe will help them, because it is their belief systems and energy fields and resonance that created the dis-ease to begin with. You understand?
Yeah, it's interesting how some people can have a dis-ease and they don't know they have a dis-ease.
Yes. But it is because they are not willing to look at the belief system and they are allowing it to remain unconscious because they are too afraid to look at it. It is fear that causes most manifestations of disease. Fear to look at the things within yourself that you believe might be true. Nothing negative you could ever look at within yourself will ever actually empirically be true. But you might be afraid that it is and afraid to look at it. And the longer you're afraid to accept a portion of yourself then the longer that portion will begin to shout and protest and get your attention in whatever way it needs to. And if it has to create an imbalance within you to do so and get you to face that it belongs to you as a part of you too, and get you to love it as unconditionally as you may love every other part, then it will do whatever it can to grab your attention, even if it has to destroy you to do so. So, if you don't prefer that, the more you pay attention to everything going on within your consciousness, within your beliefs, the more transparent you are with yourself, the more honest you are with yourself about what you hold to be true, the more disease-free you will be. Yes?
So therapies for curing, for healing are basically based on belief.
It is all based on belief. There is nothing in physical reality that is not. It doesn't matter that there might be a physicalized component or a physicalized reflection that you call chemistry or physics or medicine or science. Those are still just reflections of what you already believe in your consciousness to be true for you. Yes?
Yes.
So it's all based on belief. It's all based on consciousness. It's all based on vibration. It's all based on resonance. It's all based on state of being. That's why we say, circumstances do not matter. Only state of being does. Because it's state of being that creates circumstances. Circumstances don't create state of being. It's the other way around.
This person wants to know about fighting illness, that the warlike victim-perpetrator mentality is something that human beings are exploring. And even in our own bodies, we have special cells that fight off invaders. Can you give us a more positive way to look at what is happening as we go through an illness other than fighting it off?
Yes, if you actually pay attention to the mechanisms inside your body, you will understand that your body doesn't fight off invaders. It incorporates them and absorbs them and transforms them. It allows them to pass on, so to speak, to a different state that is no longer harmful to the body. So you need a deeper understanding of the mechanisms that are actually going on in your body so that you don't look at it as a war or a fighting situation, because that's not what's happening. It's a vibrational shift to a different state of being. It's not a fight. And so therefore, with regard to illness, more acceptance of why the illness is there will allow it to transform more quickly by understanding the lessons that it is there to teach you based on your belief systems. So it's not about fighting, it's about relating, it's about communication, it's about understanding and letting it pass on into a different state once you have learned the lesson, once you have absorbed the meaning.
So my question is, what specifically can I do to help my children heal from peanut and tree nut allergies?
There can be many things, but first and foremost, it is important to make sure health-wise that the systems are not polluted. Detoxification of the entire system is key. So first, detoxify the bodies as thoroughly as you possibly can. Actually purge the toxins from the cells. There are many different kinds of formulations, herbal remedies, and potions that can actually purge toxins from the cells to allow the cells to absorb nutrients that will then heal the body from just about anything. The idea of allergies generally, you have to take it on a case-by-case basis to be specific, but generally represent the idea of self-rejection. So they're holding on to belief systems where they're rejecting themselves in some way, because nature seems to be rejecting them. You understand?
So are there specific foods that I should give them, or?
Well, first, again, the idea of the detoxification. Then whatever symptoms are actually left is what you're really dealing with. And you're no longer dealing with the symptoms that are produced by the toxins themselves. You understand?
Yes.
Your air is polluted, your water is polluted, your food is polluted. You force toxins into your system all day long, just by breathing, just by drinking, just by eating. So it is a good idea on a relatively regular basis to detoxify the system to see what's actually left that you need to deal with. It's quite possible that if you actually thoroughly detoxify their system, you may find that most of the symptoms are gone. Yes?
Okay.
And then you can deal with the deeper issues. Belief systems that have to do with self-rejection and so on and so forth, if that comes up.
Okay, so following that are humans are really designed to eat meat if yes,
Not
what kind?
necessarily. It depends upon the human. It's up to you to understand what your body consciousness says that you may need, but you have to really be in touch with what it is it actually needs and not just do it because everyone says you should. And there are also, even if you do eat animal protein, many different ways of going about doing it that are far more natural, far more respectful, far more organic, far more natural. Develop a relationship as it used to be with the animal. Let the animal work with you. And do remember, in every case that you absorb anything from nature, nature is also absorbing you into it.
Okay.
Eating is a two-way street.
I've experienced debilitating severe pain in my body for the last 16 years,
All
which is
right.
getting worse.
All right.
And I'm done with it.
Oh,
I
all
want
right.
it to be healed.
Yes.
And I'd like your help in helping me figure
All
out.
right. Well, again, the first question usually, energetically speaking, is what have you learned from having that experience that you might otherwise not have learned? Start acknowledging what you've learned in a positive context.
I've learned to appreciate ability in the body, and since I've had it taken away from me, I've learned to appreciate putting healthy things in my body through diet and lifestyle, and to try to maintain that optimum wellness.
All right.
Stuff like that.
Anything else?
I've learned that it's awful having it. It's difficult. I prefer not to have it.
Is that what you've learned?
I guess I have to dig deeper to really feel into the deeper lessons that I've learned by having it.
Then that might be a good thing for you to start with. Because when you start acknowledging how creating this for yourself has served you in a positive way, then you will be acknowledging that you've learned the lesson, and then the message doesn't have to be delivered in the same way. You understand?
Yes.
Because you're saying, I'm willing to get this, I'm willing to learn, without necessarily forcing myself into a situation where I have no other choice. Because I've arrived at a place where I am not giving myself any other choice but to know these truths for myself as true. You follow?
Yes.
Now, I do have one other suggestion for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you have learned from having this experience, have you in any way, shape, or form been teaching others who have similar experiences how to gain positive lessons from having it?
No, not exactly.
What do you mean, not exactly?
Well, I'm in the helping profession, but I don't think I've directly tried to help other people who have chronic pain.
Why not? Since you are an expert
Well,
at it.
I haven't mastered it, and I haven't overcome it, so I feel
Why
like
do you
I
think you need
that.
to overcome it in order to teach how to deal with it? In fact, what makes you think you won't be a better teacher by still having it while you are also sharing what you've learned from it that might help someone else?
Well, I just don't feel that I do deal with it very well. I feel like I suffer from it. There's suffering that comes from it.
Stop. I'm not talking about the physical experience. We've just had a conversation where you've admitted that you have learned some positive things that you otherwise might not have learned by having this experience. Yes?
Yes,
That's the conversation.
I see.
And while you're having that conversation, not that anyone else has to do it that way, but while you're sharing the possibility, the option that they might be able to turn it around and ask themselves that very interesting introspective question of, well, if I hadn't this experience, would I have learned what I have learned? Would I know what I know? Would I be the person that I've become? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that's something I really need to look at. By opening up those questions in their mind, by sharing this idea of what you've learned with them, you may find that you will no longer need to experience it that way, and you will overcome it as a process when you are sharing what you have learned from it. Not before you start sharing it, but as part of the process of sharing it.
So
You understand?
yes, I think I do. So being of service through my experience would be very important for me.
Being of service to others is the best way to be of service to yourself, because you are contained within the collective. So when you're willing to support the collective by being your true self as best as you can't be left out. You understand?
I see.
You're including yourself in that, paradoxically, by not focusing on yourself.
I see.
That's how it works. Because then you're out of your way. You've gotten out of your way, and you can let the reflection of what service and help you're giving come back to you. That's the origin of the old phrase, to help someone, you'll get it back tenfold. Because you're multiplying the opportunities and options for them, therefore you also get the multiplication of the opportunity for yourself. And it transforms things for them and you. Yes?
Yes, I see.
Giving of yourself and allowing others to receive what you have is the best way to heal yourself, as well as give them the option to heal themselves. Never hold back your gift. Never hold back your knowledge and learning. Those are the things people are waiting for. And when you hold them back because you think that what you have to share isn't worthwhile, you are compounding dis-ease in the world. See where we're going?
Yes.
So lighten your world up. Give them a better opportunity to change the experience for themselves by changing the experience for yourself by using it in the best possible positive way that you can, so that you are no longer ill at ease with yourself.
Illness, I'm assuming it's chosen before you come into this world, or is it
Not
attracted?
always. Not always. Again, remember, we are now speaking linearly, colloquially, just to have the conversation. Sometimes there are things set up, as you would say, linearly, before this life, that may be the way you feel you need to explore a certain theme. Sometimes you leave it open to how the theme will be explored. And if you find yourself gravitating toward belief systems that by definition would simply automatically attract disease, dis-ease, then you may allow yourself to fall into that experience just because that's one of the things that might have been the result of simply going down that path. It doesn't necessarily have to be decided beforehand, although the theme of exploration may have been decided, but the expression of that could have been done in any number of ways. So it just depends on what it is you have chosen to explore as to how specific the choice has to be. Sometimes things are planned to the second. Sometimes they're left very general, just as a way of saying, well, it could be this, it could be that. As long as it allows me to explore the theme I wish to explore, it could be a disease, it could be an accident, it could be finding something, it could be any number of different things. It just depends on how you wish to have that experience.
When you feel pain or discomfort or fatigue or something, it's in your body. How do you not feel it? I mean, it's just really impossible. I know you may not have a body.
Nothing is impossible, first of all. The idea is, of course, is that on your planet there are many people called yogis and other practitioners and shamans who have developed the ability to allow the idea of pain to be transformed. You understand?
Yeah.
You can do that too if you wish. But again, you must remember at the same time that because many of you have simply agreed to go along with a collective consensus of what physical reality is all about, some things you allow to simply be on automatic. So yes, when you have stubbed your toe, you will usually have some kind of painful sensation because you have agreed on the laws of physical reality, and thus then you simply don't need to take the time to circumvent that. At the same time, if it is of value to your particular exploration and your theme and your life lessons to understand how to transform that sensation into something else, then take some time to explore how the people that are already doing it on your planet do so. It's really mostly a matter of simply shifting your attention or redefining what it is you are experiencing.
So you can redefine anything, even the worst thing.
It's just energy. It's just vibrating energy. You can redefine all of it and have a completely different sensation. Have you not yourself seen or heard of demonstrations of what you call hypnosis, where a person is told that their skin is being touched with a lit cigarette and they blister when in fact it was just a person's finger? Have you not also conversely seen where people have been touched with a lit cigarette and not blistered because they were told it was just a person's finger? Have you not understood this idea?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think's happening there?
They
believe the reality they are being told.
Yeah.
Thus, then, that is the response.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So anything can be transformed as long as the focus, as long as the energy, as long as the perspective says one thing, then whatever is not the vibration of that belief will never have the ability to affect that person.
These basic requirements, again, you have all heard them, but let us take a refresher course at this time, and it is basically as follows. It really is, in your terms, quite a moot point to discuss any specificity about the idea of how to cure this, how to get rid of that, how to clear this and that up, unless and until each and every one is fully utilizing these simple principles in their life. And number one would simply be this: oxygen. Many of you do not necessarily allow yourselves to get full requirement of oxygen in your systems, especially, no offense, in the way that your atmosphere happens to be at this time in terms of the fact that it is loaded with pollutants. The idea, of course, is the oxygenation of the system is the primary fundamental key that allows all of your cells the capacity to build themselves in the way that they need to be built. Oxygenation of the system is the fundamental element to begin with, and can to some degree be enhanced to the best of your ability by making at least an attempt to find some relatively clean environment, and or at least oxygenation of the system through the idea of deep breathing exercises, some kind of yogic practice, or at least some kind of restful meditation wherein there are deep, regular breaths, or at least the idea of relaxation, so that you are not, in that sense, panic breathing, which is short breaths, do not allow the idea for oxygenation of the system to fully occur. Number one, then, oxygen, oxygenation of the system. Number two, hydration of the system. Do you have enough water? You are, as physiological beings, mostly water, yet many of you will ingest many things that will actually divest you of the hydration of your system, dehydrate you. And as many of you are beginning to understand, many of the so-called symptomologies that you might begin to attribute to many exotic diseases are actually nothing more than the symptoms of dehydration. In the sense, then, that your body is similar, in a sense, by analogy to a battery. If you do not have proper hydration, not enough water, then your cells, in that sense, can burn out, short out. You can become, in that sense, dry, like a battery, and cease to function, cease to become electrically conductive. And in that sense, also, lack of hydration, lack of water in the system will not allow your cellular structure to flush the toxins in your system from the system, and this can cause many forms of buildup that will allow the immunological system and many cellular and enzymatic functions to cease, thus again causing many different kinds of symptomologies that can then open the door and lead the way to opportunistic organisms to bring about more and more complete forms of disease. So the second idea is hydration of the system. Each and every one of you must find that it will be generally acceptable to have between 1 and 2 quarts of water a day. Otherwise, you will find you may not really readily have enough. Now, of course, every single individual is different, but you must understand something very important. When you are actually thirsty, that is your body's final signal that you do not have enough water. If you had proper hydration, you would rarely ever be thirsty. So use that as a marker. Number 3, you have heard this, of course, many times, and again, it is of paramount importance and is not to be taken lightly: exercise. Movement. Movement is like the ability to pump the body, to allow the muscles to function as pumps for the cellular structures, to allow the water to flush the toxins from the system, to allow there to be energetic revitalization, and allow there to be strengthening of the muscular and skeletal structures, to utilize all of the different mineralogical elements that are going into the body and to allow them to act as building blocks nutritionally. Exercise and movement also, in that sense, will be representative of being active, of being energetic, of flowing energy through you rather than allowing it to sit around and build up and convert itself into mass. In that sense, what you would call waiting to move. In that sense, in your language, then, the analogy of simply putting on weight because you are waiting to do something. The idea then is to understand that oxygen and hydration and movement are critical. Also then, very important, number 4, the reduction of stress in the system. Again, many of the so-called symptoms that many of you attribute to the beginnings of disease are simply nothing more than the side effects of undue stress in your lives. We would highly and strongly recommend that you find any way, shape, and form to reduce the stress in your lives, and if that means letting go of those things such as work situations and so forth that you know in your heart of hearts do not serve you, I would recommend that you do so. Or at least use your imagination to find a way to convert that situation into something more exciting, more enjoyable, more relaxing for you. Reduction of stress is of paramount importance in your society. Number 5, the actual attempt at elimination of whatever toxins may already be in the system, removal of the toxins from the environment you are in, removal of the toxins, cleansing of the system for the buildup of toxins that may already be in the body is also of critical importance, and there are many different kinds of cleansing rituals that one can take advantage of to allow the system of the body to be cleansed out from the buildup that may have occurred over time, and to allow yourself to remove from the body many different kinds of heavy metal poisonings, and to allow yourself to pay attention to what it is you put in your body in terms of the pesticides and the heavy metal toxicity that may exist side by side with many of your foodstuffs. So removal of the toxins from the system is also of paramount importance. Number 6, the idea also of lightening up your diet in many ways, especially in that in your society you have many different kinds of hormone imbalances and toxic substances that have been injected and added to many of your foodstuffs. Lightening up your diet will at the very least assist your body by the ingestion of more and more foodstuffs that contain higher amounts of water, such again as the vegetable foodstuffs in that sense, that are mostly water, just like your body, and eaten in raw, fresh state, as organic as possible, will also be of great assistance in lightening up your energy and allowing for cleansing of the system. Some small amounts for certain individuals, again, where necessary, of protein, perhaps even in meat form, is acceptable from time to time, but we would suggest that you do not overdo it, especially in the day and age on your planet where you will find that many of the protein meat substances on your planet, as we have said, are heavily laden with all sorts of toxins. Be very cautious about that idea. And also understand that as you do accelerate your energy, as you do accelerate your systems, it will be less often that you will need such support, and you will find yourself being highly energized by less and less and less. And the more natural your food is, in that sense, the more capable it is of giving you, of delivering the nutrients that you need and energizing the system so that you actually need less food. So you will find that these things will work hand in hand, that as you clarify your system, give it oxygen, give it water, reduce the stress, so on and so forth, your body will be, A, more receptive to the nutrients that are there in your natural foods, and as you then feed it more naturally, you will find that you will be energized and require far less. So these ideas are simply the foundation of health. And if you will allow yourself to recognize that these are very simple things that can be added to your life, you will understand that in, shall we just say, for analogy's sake, 99.99999999999% of the cases, these 6 ideas alone will eliminate almost any chance you will ever have of contracting any kind of disease in your life at all. So when you talk about the idea of how do we cure cancers, how do we cure AIDS, how do we cure this, how do we cure that, that's how you do it. By changing the lifestyle in that way and making sure your body has the foundational things it needs so that you will simply never get these things, because the body in and of itself has the natural intelligence to never bring about these kinds of diseases if you simply supply it with the immediate natural fuels that it needs, which are oxygen and water and lack of stress and lightness of food in that sense. Plain and simple, that's really all it will take for most of the things and most of the ailments you find that exist upon your planet.
That when people experience depression, they're defining their experience in a negative way and so experiencing it as depression, when in fact all it really is the natural compression that happens when you know you're looking for answers that can't be found out there. So you go to where you know they are, within. And you reevaluate yourself, and you redefine yourself, and you emerge as a new person, literally. But if you define the idea of going within that way to look for answers as something antisocial, something's wrong with you, you're not outgoing anymore, you're withdrawn, if you start defining that idea in a negative way, even though it's a natural mechanism, you will start to experience the negative effects of defining it that way. And it turns into depression instead of compression.
I just want to share where I'm at in my state of being at this time.
All right.
And some of the joy and other things I'm dealing with. So my organization, Create Now,
yes,
which helps troubled youth through the arts, is exploding in many different ways.
All right.
I'm touching people around the world. I'm getting top media exposure. I'm getting recognition and awards for my work. And I'm sharing the secret with many of the troubled kids that I'm serving.
May I ask you to stop right there for a moment?
Sure.
Listen to the tonal quality of this recitation. You can tell just by listening to the way you are inflecting each of those statements that eventually you will arrive at a but.
Yes, I understand.
In other words, each of those statements unto itself should be a definitive statement with an absolutely energetic definitive stop that has nothing to do with leading to a but.
Yes.
And that's the difference in the state of being you need as opposed to the state of being you're creating.
Thank you. That's wonderful. So it should be, I'm experiencing all of this joy and recognition, and I'm thrilled.
Yes. Are you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for reflecting that to me.
My pleasure.
The challenge I'm having is
yes,
that
it's all right to acknowledge the challenge as long as it is definitively different than the recognition of what you are not challenged by, so that they are not interlinked and connected. You follow me?
Yes, and I'm...
So that you recognize that it's two different states of being and you can deal with it as such.
Yes.
So very good. Your challenge is?
I'm not getting the material abundance that I need to live a comfortable life.
A comfortable life.
And
which means what?
Well, the primary issue is I have my basic needs fed at the moment.
Basic needs, all right.
Room and shelter and food and whatever.
Maybe you should expand your definition of basic needs.
Yes, and my other basic need is I'm driving a 14-year-old car with no air conditioning.
Yes.
And it's very uncomfortable.
All right.
And I've been using The Secret for months
I see.
to
what?
feel the excitement of having my dream car, which would be a Prius.
Yes.
I'm feeling it. I'm visualizing it.
Yes.
I'm pretending I'm having one.
Have you gone to the car dealer?
I've sat in one. I've been hesitant because my credit is not there, and normally the car dealers won't let you take a ride unless they go through a credit check.
Normally.
Yes.
You see, that's where you're at.
Well,
normal.
Uh-huh.
What's normal got to do with what you prefer to be? This is where we hearken back to the example we gave before your lunch break. Can the rational mind actually imagine the possibility that something could happen out of the blue with any logical appearing connection?
Yes.
Can you imagine the car manifesting without your rational mind having to figure out how it would normally have to happen?
Yes.
Because you see, that's what you're muddying this up with, is no matter how excited you get, you still bring to bear the idea of the rational mind's need to know how the heck is this going to happen.
Right, and that's why I related so much to what you've been saying about this idea of control and letting go and letting the higher self control it.
Yes.
And I appreciate that so much.
Well, all right, then, if so, use it. And start today by allowing yourself to recognize that circumstances don't matter. So anything that you now have labeled or mentioned that is in your physical mind's estimation a circumstance connected to the manifestation of the car, let the circumstances go. The circumstances don't matter. Only the state of being does. So if you are willing to simply be the state of being of someone who has the car and absolutely forget about how that's supposed to happen, then you will allow your reality to attract that idea. But that's not what you're doing.
Well, for instance, I received a card in the mail from a credit card company through my business offering me a loan to go get a car at any car dealer.
But
that means I have to go through my board of directors and take out a loan.
You see, you have used it enough to attract an opportunity within the realm of your belief system, yet at the same time, because it's only within the realm of your physical mind's belief system, it always comes with a caveat of how.
Right.
You need to disassociate this completely. You have proven to yourself you can attract by attracting the loan. But the idea is that it only came in a form that is reflective of the fact that you still think there are strings attached.
Yes.
Well, you have to let that go. You have to completely let go of that concept entirely in order to experience the kind of manifestation that we and The Secret are talking about.
So would that mean pursuing the loan and not worrying about the strings attached?
It depends on what you think your belief system can handle. But what it actually empirically means is allowing yourself to simply let go of how you think it must happen at all, and being in a state of freedom that way, being inspired to allow your imagination to move you to do things you would otherwise not normally do. Go to a car manufacturer and say, I am doing this in the world. We would love it if you would donate a car for our use. Okay, here you go.
Thank you.
There are many, many, many things you could do that would not be, in your mind's estimation, normal. That's just one small example. But the point is you will never be creatively inspired to even think of those kinds of things if you are not actually willing to be in the state of being you want to be in and forget the circumstances. It will never come to you to think about that, to ask something that other people would think that's outrageous. Who would ever just give us a car? That'll never happen. I have to do this. I have to do that. It must come with this string. It must come that way. You have to let all of those assumptions go, because that's all they are. They are assumptions. And again, don't get caught up in it again by saying, oh, all right, I'm just going to let all that go. And now I'm just going to be in the state of being. Oh, my car didn't show up today. Something's wrong. Once again, you went right back into assumptions. Just be the state of being. Use the car as a symbol. Let it come to you how it will. Let the higher self bring it how it needs to come. And just get on with your life, staying in the state of being you prefer to be in, and acting through inspiration and imagination on the things that pop up symbolically that have to do with that when and where you can, again, without expectation, without assumption, and without needing to know how that might actually work. Just do it because you're moved to do it. So if you happen to be in that state of being, and you happen to be walking down the sidewalk, and you happen to be walking past a car dealership, and walking past the dealership reminds you of the joy of being in that car. Present tense, not future, present tense. The joy of having that car, then that joy could inspire you to suddenly turn on your heel, run up the driveway, walk into the showroom and say, give me a car. I deserve it, and this is why. And just see what happens. And even if it doesn't happen the way you think, starting to behave that way will get you into the habit of being in the proper state where anything can happen. You need to loosen up the structure that you have imposed upon how you think you need to go about doing this, so that you look a little bit crazy. It's all right, be a little bit crazy. It's all right to be just a little bit crazy. Because you see, if you're just a little bit crazy in just the right way, people just say, she's creative. Being creative is being a little bit crazy in just the right vibration. With that in mind, you should understand God's completely insane. Who else but an insane being would think up your planet? Oh! But who else but an insane being would believe that unconditional love and unending ecstasy and joy are also normal? But that's the reality. All that is. Does this make some sense?
It does, and it relates to the second part of this, which is all coming into place for me, which is that the other passion that I have are my screenplays and the book I'm working on, and the fear that sometimes creeps into my thoughts that how can I do both when I have so much to juggle now?
But you already do understand, as we have said many times, that your passion and your joy and the thing that excites you the most is not only the driving engine, but also the organizing principle, which will allow everything to mesh in perfect harmony and synchronicity if it is truly representative of the state of being of your true self. So there is, again, no need to worry. What's the word? How is all that going to fit? It just will.
Thank you so much for reflecting that to me.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bashar. You're awesome.
I know. We know that when we say it just will, that there are still portions of your physical mind going, I can't accept that, it's too vague. In this case, vagueness is your friend. Relax your hold, the stranglehold that many of you have on how things need to happen, and allow your higher self to do its job. The phrase, it just will, is the physical mind's translation of the higher self's message, I've got it, relax. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. You were talking about permission slips and methodologies.
I was.
Yes. A long time ago, I heard a Ramtha tape saying that pyramids were an amplifier. They enhanced one's ability to manifest. And I was wondering if it's just a permission slip.
Everything is just a permission slip. That doesn't mean that that's not what those things do, because you have created them to do so as a reflection to you that allows you to be who you are. It's, remember, not this or that, it's this and that. Spiritual growth is the product of including all the definitions and recognizing that all the definitions are true and not excluding anything. And just getting that to work for you. So yes, pyramids are like amplifiers. They're like focusing lenses for electromagnetic energy. Yes, they do that. But they are only an idea in your consciousness. So who's actually doing it? You are. Because there is no physical reality. When you say the pyramids, you're talking about something as if it actually existed outside your consciousness. Just because it's made of stone and has been around for thousands of years doesn't mean it's outside your consciousness. Does that make sense?
Perfectly, thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I would love to own my own home.
Oh, you go right ahead then.
Now, in the secret,
Yes.
it would seem, to my understanding,
Yes.
that what one should do is focus on the exact perfect home for me.
Yes.
Now,
This functions as a template. Because you see, again, it's a permission slip. The home may or may not look exactly like you imagine it. But whatever in your mind, whatever in your visualization is the ideal representation, the ideal permission slip, will resonate with your preferred vibration. And then the higher self will bring you the idea that actually is representative of your true high frequency, even if it's a little bit different than what your physical mind was capable of imagining. But it still functions as a template to get you on the right resonant frequency. That's what it's for. So if you use it, imagine it in all the details you can, perfectly as you can, it will get you more excited because it's more representative of what you believe you want. And by getting more excited, you will then attract exactly what will really serve you. Make sense?
It does.
So it's the idea of focusing on a specific, but allowing the general to manifest in a specific way that is actually more representative than anything your physical mind could actually have imagined. Because you see, when people insist that it must look exactly this way, exactly that way, sometimes they may be right on in alignment, and they may get exactly that reflection. But the point is that if you don't insist that it must look exactly that way, and if you're open to the possibility that it could be something grander, your higher self will always bring you something better. So if you insist it must be this way, you're actually insisting that it shouldn't be even better than you can imagine. Does that make sense?
Well, what I was wondering is if,
Yes.
if it's possible, my way seems to be to walk down the street and
Yes.
I'd imagine living in that house, in that house, in
Yes.
that house. What would
Yes.
it be like to live in a tree? I
All
wonder what
right.
it'd be like to live in a bus station. Now, could
All
I
right.
dilute?
All right, but
My
that's perhaps
focus.
simply the process you enjoy to give yourself the understanding that you can imagine anything and any one of those things could come to pass. And it gives you the opportunity to understand that all of those choices are equally valid.
But is it a roundabout way? Do I have to live in all these places before I get
No.
the right one?
No, you don't have to. You may only be proving to yourself that all the choices are equal, which means that no one has to stand out, which means being equal, you can choose the one you prefer. But that may just be your way of allowing all the choices to seem equal.
A level playing ground.
Exactly. Because only when all choices are valid and all choices are allowed to be equal and no choices are judged as being less than another choice or better than another choice, do you actually give yourself the ability to actually choose what you prefer. Because when you invalidate something, all your energy goes towards suppressing its validity. And that's what manifests. Make sense?
Thank you, yes.
Does that help?
It does.
Then happy walking.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you for teaching us.
Thank you for teaching us.
My question is with regard to having multiple highest joys at different times. And
Yes. Multiple expressions of one highest joy. Anytime you appear to have different things that have equal amounts of excitement and joy, they might simply be different expressions of one overriding highest joy that you haven't yet actually labeled or identified.
I see.
For example, someone may bounce all around between the idea of painting, singing, writing, and they say, oh, well, I have all these highest joys. No, they have one highest joy of expressing communication creatively. And painting, singing, and writing are simply different expressions of that one highest joy. Right. Knowing it that way can help remove the confusion about which way to go. Because if you understand that all of these things may be simply different expressions of one highest joy, then it doesn't matter which one you do at any given moment.
I see.
Does that help?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
Sure. My other question
yes.
is with regard to helping to better incorporate your teachings. And the mantra that you provided just now
yes.
will be of great help. And,
all right. Use it if you wish.
And all the tools and just reviewing your material will be of great help. I was also wondering if there will be any opportunities to be among your people is a kind of study abroad type situation.
Eventually.
In order to learn by example and better internalize.
Eventually.
Okay.
Somewhere before your year of 2033.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
All right, I'll say good day. This transmission has been titled Matters of the Heart in honor of your February month, your Valentine holiday. And since we will be talking about matters of the heart, let us get to the heart of the matter. First of all, the physicalness. Your heart, as you know, beats to pump your blood through your veins and arteries around your body, circulating oxygen to your systems so they may absorb it and thrive and function properly. Let's draw an analogy between that system, the circulatory system of your body, and the circulatory system of the earth. You know that deep within your planet, you have a circulatory system of molten metal. As this molten metal moves around underneath the ground of your world, this is what generates the electromagnetic field of your planet. Likewise, your blood, your body contains a certain amount of iron. And the idea is that as it moves around your body, similarly, it also is to some degree responsible for amplifying and magnifying and producing the electromagnetic field that extends from your body. As you allow yourself more clarity, more refinement in your physical form, as you remove toxins from your system that may interfere with this process of your blood circulation, this electromagnetic field becomes more and more refined and extends farther and farther from your body. The strongest component of it is the heartbeat itself, or when the blood arrives in the heart, containing all of that iron. And with every heartbeat, you send out an electromagnetic bubble that expands from your body, all of you, and immerse each other in these electromagnetic connective bubbles. So that one heart literally talks to all the others, and you are immersed in the electromagnetic bubbles of all the other hearts. This allows for amplification of the communication non-verbally between you, allows for greater consistency and refinement and precision in your telepathic contacts with one another, which again is why we say telepathy instead of telepathy, because the empathy underscores the emotional component of the heart, the emotional intelligence of the heart that communicates with every beat to every other heart on the planet. You are living, expanding bubbles of electromagnetic energy that expand and issue from the heart with every single beat, in constant connection and communication with one another. Now, as you refine your physical form, as you ascend, as you accelerate your vibration, uplift your frequency, these heartbeats become even more powerful. The electromagnetic or auric field around your body becomes highly sensitive to higher frequency energies from other dimensions, including the spirit realm. And so again, as your frequency rises, not only do you have better connections among yourselves physically on the planet, you have much stronger ability to connect and receive information from the spirit realm as well. So it is with the opening of the heart, the acceleration of your vibration, the upliftment of your frequency, that you will not only connect with all physical beings on your planet, not just humans, but all physical beings, but also connect with the spirit realm more consciously and have more awareness of their communications to you that come through electromagnetic energy. The electromagnetic field of your planet that you are immersed in, again, allows you to align with it by accelerating your frequency, creating the entire planet in that sense to be a beacon, to be a receiver of spirit realm energy, higher dimensional energies, extraterrestrial energies that operate on higher frequencies. So when you are all aligned in that sense in the future, you will find that you will open up gateways, lines of communication to dimensions you had no idea existed. You will be able to receive information from many different levels of reality. And this will become the norm as we experience it on our world. We commune with spirits and extra-dimensional beings every day, all the time. It is part of our natural reality to know that this information exists, can be received and tapped into at any given moment when you're operating on that frequency from the highest levels of the heart. So you will eventually get used to the idea of walking through a dreamlike world, just as we do, where the heart really is what gives you the opportunity to know how much there is you are not seeing now, not experiencing now. You're only experiencing a relatively thin slice of reality, even of your own reality. But when you open your heart, all those gateways, all those doorways, all those windows will begin to open as well, and you will see how much richer your reality truly is. Now, with regard to energetic communication with your own higher mind, the heart is absolutely crucial in this process because the higher mind, again, speaks in the language of energy, sends energy of certain frequencies to you, which your physical mind translates into the sensation of passion. But the reason it does this is because the heart is specifically tuned to the vibration of the higher mind in its natural state. Therefore, the reason that your physical body translates the messages, the communications from your higher mind as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and unconditional love is because the heart is what's actually directly receiving the core communication from the higher mind and filling your body with that vibration. Now, of course, it can be filtered through the belief systems of the physical mind that can allow it not necessarily to be experienced in its pure form, its pure unconditional loving form. And that is why it is so important to get a hold of your belief systems, to consciously be aware of them. Let go of the fear-based ones that prevent you from experiencing the pure core vibration transmission from your higher mind that is bounced back to the physical mind by the heart with every beat as a guiding mechanism to say, align with this, align with this, align with this. This is your truth. This is your truth. This is your truth. So the idea is that you're constantly being given an opportunity to let go and zero back to your natural state with literally every beat of your heart reflecting to you like a drum the vibration, the core vibration of your higher mind in its natural state. And it gives you the opportunity to guide yourself in letting those negative beliefs go so that your physical mind can also align and be transparent to those vibrations that are bouncing from the heart into the physical mind that are representative of the core communication of the higher mind. And that way you can move forward in physical reality, in love, in passion. This is why it translates as passion, because it is filtering through or bouncing back from the heart to your physical mind that only understands that vibration really when it aligns with it as the sensation of passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and love. So take the cue not only from the higher mind, but from what the heartbeat, every heartbeat is reflecting to you. That passion, that curiosity, that excitement, that freedom, that love is truly your core frequency, your natural state. And move forward, choose to move forward in that way. And you will be at one, at peace, in total freedom and joy, in love, by listening to your heart, which has its own mind in a sense, connecting to the higher mind. And between the two, with the physical mind in the center, between those two, you can be guided to remember your true self and live a life of pure love, joy, creativity, and harmony by being the true individuals that you each are, that you were created to be. That is your path in life. in this month that you honor the idea of love and the heart in February and your Valentine's Day, and reach out also to all the different peoples and all the differences on your world in a loving way, to incorporate and embrace everyone in their own truth and free them from their own limitations by being the living examples of someone living their truth, living from their heart and head in unison, in harmony and higher mind. Do so not only in this month, but in every month and in every year. And you will change your frequencies and navigate yourselves to the versions of Earth that already coexist, that are far more representative of the heart of love and the experience of ecstasy and joy. So, we thank you for allowing us to share this heartfelt message with you. And in return, we ask, in what way now may we be of service to you? You may begin, if you wish, with your questions and comments.
We, last night of your time, also mentioned that we would be speaking about the idea of the transformation itself, the accelerating wave of collective consciousness that many of you have intuitively recognized reaches a critical mass threshold in and around your cycle that you call 2012. This simply represents the idea of crossing into critical mass, where you have the potential for total positive reality. You have that now, of course. But after 2012, the idea of positive energy will be so much more available to so many more of you that if you should choose to ride the crest of that wave, the leading edge of that wave of consciousness, you can accelerate so rapidly, you can attract to yourself so rapidly the things that are representative of your passion, of your joy, without knowing in any way, shape, or form how these things could have happened, beyond reason, beyond logic, that again, your life will become literally so dreamlike, it will be at first dizzying and disorienting until you get used to it. Literally, you'll be walking through life like it's a dream, marveling at the miraculous synchronicities that just are popping up as a matter of course. Yes. When you ride the leading edge of the wave of consciousness. If, however, you choose to continue to compartmentalize your physical mind and make it responsible for being in charge, and have to know the how, and have to know the why, and have to know all the details before you'll be willing to believe that the higher self can simply bring this to you, then you will, by choice, position yourself somewhere down the line from the leading edge, in some of the eddies and currents and backwashes in the wake of the leading edge. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot find benefit in those locations, in those gradations of frequency behind the leading edge. But wherever it is you position yourself, you simply have to understand the effect you create will be absolutely directly commensurate with where you have positioned yourself, and it will not be any more than that. By definition, it cannot be any more than that. As an analogy, your visible spectrum of light. You understand that in the visible spectrum of light, red is a low frequency, the lowest visible frequency you can perceive with your eyes. Violet is the highest visible frequency you can perceive with your eyes in general. We understand many of you are beginning to stretch these boundaries, but for the purpose of this illustration, let's just stick with the common labeling of this visible spectrum. Now, you know, if something exists on the frequency of violet light, it's at a very high level of frequency, very high level of energy. And it will experience the things that go hand in hand with that level. If something chooses to exist On the other end of the spectrum, in the red frequency, it will be functioning at a lower wavelength, a slower wavelength, a lower vibration, and will only experience the things that are commensurate with that level in the spectrum. It's all energy, it's all light, it's all the same stuff, as you say, but the difference in gradation of the vibrational frequency will ultimately determine what is capable of being experienced on that level. If you're operating at a certain wavelength toward the lower end of that spectrum, you will only perceive red. Only! You will never perceive violet at that end of the spectrum. If you are operating at the violet end of the spectrum on a high frequency level, you will only perceive violet. You will never perceive red at that end of the spectrum. Ever. So, the leading edge of the wave of your collective consciousness on this transformation, you can live there and ride the crest, or you can allow yourself to float back into the wake. Somewhere in there will be vibrations that will be representative of whatever degree you are willing to allow your belief system to take hold. So, you must understand that if you do that, there are consequences to that. The consequence being that you can only perceive what is directly commensurate with the level you're on, and nothing else. Nothing lower, but nothing higher. But you are all capable of choosing to ride the crest, the leading edge. All right. Now, when some of you consider this, you get scared. It's going too fast for me. I might fall off. I might crash. I might smack into a brick wall. As if suddenly one would appear. Of course it will if you create it. But again, understand that if you create that brick wall, that's an indication you are no longer on the leading edge. Brick walls do not exist, by definition, on the leading edge. They only exist back down the line, in the wake, in one of the eddies, in one of the currents that is representative of belief systems that there are such things as brick walls. But if you're truly riding the leading edge, truly, as you say, surfing the crest, then you will understand that just like being on the top of the mountain, you have a clear and unobstructed view of everything in front of you. And you ride that wave right into ecstasy. Ride the leading edge of the ecstasy. Allow yourself the opportunity to know you can. You don't have to choose to. But then if you don't be surprised by what is commensurate for that level. It's completely up to you what to lock onto, what to believe, what to align with, what to associate yourself with. You can, on one hand, say, I understand these concepts. I believe these concepts. I will live these concepts. I am this idea. It can happen instantly, effortlessly, miraculously, wonderfully, joyfully, creatively, lovingly, now, for me. Or you can recognize that you tend, quote unquote, choose to gravitate more to informational sources that confirm your own fear. Well, one should take their time. Well, one has to be careful with this stuff. Now, we understand that there is such a thing as recognizing and honoring whatever belief system you happen to have, and not pushing yourself beyond it if you truly don't believe you can, because that would simply be disastrous. But the idea is to understand and to clearly take responsibility for knowing that if you are aligning with someone that says, well, you can't just go full throttle because you have to be careful that you're not doing this and you're not doing that. You might fool yourself here, you might fool yourself there, and you have to take it easy. If you align yourself with that, that's all well and good. But understand that you are choosing to, and it has nothing at all to do with the fact that you could change your belief and allow yourself to ride the leading edge where things manifest instantaneously. You could. But if you are not, it's your choice. And that's, once again, where you really need to be passionate about being passionate and find out why you are choosing to not ride the leading edge. You will obviously have your own reason for not doing so. Whatever that reason is, whatever you feel is the need for safety, is up to you to determine. But just take responsibility and recognize the responsibility and the choice that you are making for understanding that it's not empirically true that you have to do it that way. It's not empirically true that you have to listen to what that person is saying as opposed to what this person is saying. It's just your choice. Take responsibility for it and then be passionate about finding out why you believe what you do, so that you can, if you are willing, open up to new beliefs that will allow you to move up the spectrum and be in the violet instead of in the red, financially speaking. So, allow yourselves to simply at every given moment recognize what you're doing. Let go of the need to understand the how of it. Because you see, one of the things that stops many of you from having the experiences that were described in the recording is that, for example, when someone says, well, I simply got into the state where I believed I would simply receive more checks. Your physical, logical, reasonable mind goes, well, where the heck are they supposed to come from? I haven't done anything to earn that money. What are you saying? That some stranger just suddenly going to get into his head to pop a check in the mail to me for no reason whatsoever, and I'm just going to go to my mailbox and open a check that comes from a total stranger that's suddenly giving me exactly what I want? Yes! Yes, that is what's being said. Yes, that is one possible way. Yes, that is one possible example of what could happen. But when your logical, reasonable, physical mind going, how does that make any sense? The thing to remind it is that it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to make sense. When you stop needing it to make sense, then you'll make dollars. You have got to give up. You've got to give up your need, your physical mind's need for everything to have a reason, for everything to make logical sense in the physical third-dimensional world. If you say you wish to live in fourth-density reality, you must give up the things that are commensurate with the three-dimensional world, such as logic, reason, not totally. I'm not saying be willy-nilly, fly by the seat of your pants people. I'm saying be aware of the fact that these things are simply points of view, and that you often stop yourselves from allowing these things to come to you because you logic them to death. You detail them to death, literally. You look for a chain of reasonable connection, and believe me, in fourth density reality, there are many chains that to a third density mind are not reasonable or rational at all. You have asked us, how do we travel from star to star? And we have explained to you, we don't travel. from star to star. We're simply here, then we're simply there. The logical mind boggles. But how did you get there? How is it possible to go from here to there without stepping on all the places in between? That's not rational. That's not logical. Yes, it is from a different point of view. I'm talking about not abandoning logic. I'm talking about higher logic. The logic that comes from standing on the mountaintop where you can see the entire valley, the entire network, and where it makes sense to you on the mountaintop to say, if you actually go back 3 steps and then to the left, you're actually going to get there more quickly than if you just go straight ahead. Whereas down in the valley, the logical mind self is going, but everyone knows the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And if I go backwards, how can I get there sooner than if I go forwards? How? And the higher self goes, ugh. Because I can see that if you go forward there, the bridge is out, and if you take 3 steps back and go to the left, you go on a parallel road where the bridge is fine. But the point is that the language of the higher self cannot always communicate all those specifics to the physical mind, because the physical mind does not always have the capacity for that kind of translation. The only way that dialogue, most often than not from the higher self, translates to the physical mind is simply suddenly the urge to go back. The urge itself, the intuition itself, in the physical mind is the condensation and capsulization of the entire explanation from the higher self, saying, if you go 3 steps back and then go to the left and go down the parallel road, then the bridge is up. But all the physical mind will get is the tug. That's how it translates in physical reality, because the physical mind is not capable of actually perceiving in the same way the higher self is, and doesn't have to know all the reasons why and how. All it needs to do is know that that's part of who you are, and allow yourself to recognize that that is a communication, and to follow it, and that you have received the information that you need, because it's on the same wavelength of your joy, of your passion. Why? Because you say it is. And you flow with it, and thus find out that it is. Or resist it for as long as you want, and keep walking on the same road until you get to the washed out bridge and go, oh, why didn't I listen to my intuition back there? Because you thought you were in charge, smarty. But you're not. Not you alone. You are in charge, but not you alone, physical mind. Physical mind, higher self, that's the you that's in charge. Both aspects of your being is the persona, not just the physical personality self. That's only a part of it. So if you want to know you're in charge, you have to behave like the whole you. And be willing to open up and receive and perceive in whatever way it works for you, the dialogue and the communication coming from the portion of yourself that is the higher self, that has the higher point of view, that has the bigger picture. And be willing to understand it's working on your behalf. It's not going to trick you. It's not going to deceive you. The only thing in your reality that can create the idea of tricks and deception is the physical mind's belief system, not the higher self. Because it is only in physical, three-dimensional reality that you can have the experience of a personality structure that can actually deny its own truth. So any tricks, any deception that you may be afraid of encountering can only actually be coming from the personality aspect that's actually afraid it's going to be deceived. That's the paradox. It can't come from the higher self because that's a bigger picture point of view. And it can clearly see the road. And there is no reason, there is no logic for the higher self to go, yeah, take the left road. Watch and see how my lower self falls into the river. This ought to be fun. Oops, I went with it. You are under the assumption that the higher self is immune from what you experience in physical reality. Incorrect. You are one being, and the higher self will suffer the slings and arrows that the physical mind shoots itself with. You are one being, and it is not detached from you, and it is not immune to the consequences of the physical mind's choices. But because the higher self is closer to the vibration of unconditional love, it will overlook it. Again and again and again and again. Attempting to unconditionally loving you, reminding you, please take the other road, please. Oh, here we go again. It is not immune to the consequences of the physical mind's acts and choices. Do not assume that it is. But it is close enough to unconditional love to forgive it and to keep giving you the benefit of the doubt. That's the relationship of your higher self. That's its job. To keep on guiding you no matter what. Because it is the vibration of unconditional love that the physical mind often refuses to allow itself to perceive. Through the belief systems it chooses to buy into that deny its truth to itself. So, higher self says, please, 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 please know you are loved. Please, please, please allow me to love you. Please, please, please love yourself enough to know you're not alone in this. That you don't have to do it all. That you weren't designed to. You weren't expected to. Ever. Not once. Carry this burden by yourself. Let me be your guide because I am you. Become familiar with that portion of yourself. It is not detached. It is not separate. It is not aloof. It is not in its own realm unaware of what you are choosing to experience. It will also experience it in its own way. But nevertheless, will always overlook it and always urge you forward. Or left, or back, or whatever is necessary. Take a deep breath and let this sink in deeply, deeply, deeply. And allow yourself to at least consider the possibility that you deserve to be on the leading edge of the crest of the wave of consciousness of the transformation. Take another deep breath. Now, in terms of your time frame, what is the time remaining for this?